Scientists around the world are racing to understand COVID-19. Among the questions they're asking is, why do some people show only mild symptoms while others develop a severe form of the disease?
Yeah, recently 23andMe launched a study to determine whether genetics may play a role in the differences of severity. Joining us to discuss that is Adam Otten, principal scientist of statistical genetics at 23andMe. Good morning, Adam.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. This is fascinating. So what can you tell us about the study and how many people have already signed up for it so far?
Yeah, so absolutely. So we launched this study in April, and we're very much interested in trying to understand to what extent genetics plays a role in determining why some people may not even notice that they have a COVID-19 infection, whereas other individuals may have a very severe outcome, hospitalized with COVID-19. And so we're really hoping that using our expertise and information about genetics, we can address the question as to what role genetics plays in determining those outcomes. And so as of today, we've had 600,000 people come in and tell us about their experiences with COVID-19. And of those, about 9,000 people have told us that they have a positive COVID diagnosis. And we're now opening up the study to people who are not yet 23andMe customers, but have been hospitalized with COVID-19 to come and participate within the study.
I know that there's still more that needs to be done, and you're still kind of in the preliminary parts of the study, but so far from your findings, do you think that it is possible that genetics are playing a role in explaining these differences in severity that we're seeing with the disease?
Absolutely. So we know that genetics has a role to play in really nearly every human disease. But at this stage, we don't know if genetics has a large role to play in determining outcomes from COVID-19 or a small role. But we really feel that we are in a great position to be able to help answer that question. So we hope that we'll be able to work on this question, make some data available to the scientific community so that individuals, scientists around the world who are working in COVID-19 can use this data to potentially think about what are ways to develop therapies so that if people do get sick with COVID-19, there are more treatment options so that people can recover and get back to their normal lives.
And again, I know you're early on in this, but do you have any, I don't know, guesses isn't the right word, but just, how genetics how that can tell us, how the disease is really impacting our bodies? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so we absolutely know that there in similar diseases, genetics has a role to play, and there are certain genes in the genome that are likely relevant for COVID-19. So we have some ideas of some of the things that we'll be looking for, but as you say, it's still very early days in this research. It's quite remarkable that as of a few months ago, I don't think many of us had ever heard of something like COVID-19, whereas now the scientific community is really making great strides to understand this disease. And we really hope that 23andMe can be part of that conversation and can contribute some data and results that can really help scientists and the medical community around the world fight back against this disease.
And you mentioned this early on in the interview that 23andMe decided to expand the study at this time to also include people who haven't done it yet, but also those who are in hospitals with those severe cases. So how do you expect that to really help you move forward with this?
So it's absolutely the case that genetic studies, they really need quite large numbers of people to participate in those studies if we are able to find the links between genes and genetics and the outcomes from disease. So we really need more people to come and participate within the study. And in particular, the individuals who have had really severe outcomes, we're really interested in knowing if their genetics has contributed to that outcomes. So we're inviting people who have been hospitalized with COVID-19 and have subsequently recovered to come to our website at 23andme.com. And at that place, they can find more information about this study, and we invite them to come and participate within this research.
All right, we will put a link to that on coin.com. Adam Otten with 23andMe, thanks so much for joining us.